This presentation will be looking at lifespan development in middle adulthood, ages 31 to 60, and its application to social work. Erik Erikson posited that there are 8 stages of psychosocial development experienced by all humans. Each of the 8 stages correlates with a specific age range, from infancy to old age. Erikson theorized that during each of the 8 stages of life, people resolve a specific conflict and achieve a virtue based on this resolution or task completion. The goal at each stage is to find an appropriate balance between the conflicting tasks, not to remove one entirely. For example, an individual who trusts everyone and does not have appropriate levels of mistrust may find themselves in situations where they are being taken advantage of more frequently than a person who developed a healthy balance of trust and mistrust. Stage 1, or birth through 18 months, is focused on the task of trust versus mistrust. If this task is completed, the virtue of hope is achieved. So even if an infant experiences discomfort, they are hopeful a caregiver will provide for their needs. Stage 2 takes place in early childhood and deals with autonomy versus shame and doubt. Children in this stage begin to explore and experience independence, and with appropriate support from caregivers, this independence will lead to autonomy. By achieving autonomy, children gain the virtue of will, or the belief they have the power to make choices and experience independence. During play age, or ages 3 to 5 years, children complete the task of initiative versus guilt. With typical development stemming from increased social interaction, children at this stage develop confidence to take initiative and lead others, achieving the virtue of purpose and the confidence that they can achieve their goals. School-age children fall under stage 4, approximately 5 to 13 years. Industry versus inferiority is explored here, with typical development including formal education. At this stage, children learn to problem solve and become competent when faced with new situations they must figure out. From ages 13 to 21, adolescents are making the transition from childhood to adulthood and exploring identities, social groups, and determining where they belong. Completion of identity versus confusion results in fidelity, or the meshing of identity with social group expectations. Stage 6, which refers to intimacy versus isolation, contains the beginning of middle adulthood. In this stage, people begin to form intimate, healthy relationships, resulting in the virtue of love. During stage 7, the second part of middle adulthood, people are completing the task of generativity versus stagnation. In this stage, which occurs between ages 40 and 65, individuals are focused on leaving their mark or making a positive impact in the world. If this stage is completed, the virtue of care is developed, caring about being useful and making positive impacts for future generations. The final stage is older adulthood, ages 65 and up. This stage's crisis is of integrity versus despair. During this 8th stage, individuals with typical development will feel accomplishment or fulfilled with their life, developing the virtue of wisdom. Erikson's 6th and 7th stages occur during middle adulthood, or ages 31 through 60. In stage 6, individuals are about 21 to 39 years old. During this stage, individuals seek intimate relationships, but not just in romantic partners. These relationships may be with friends or peers as well. When typical development in this stage does not occur, individuals will have difficulty making and maintaining important, meaningful relationships, and may instead be prone to promiscuity, isolation, and exclusivity. Stage 7 consists of adults around the ages of 40 to 65. In this stage, the goal is to make your mark on the world, or feel that you are improving the lives of future generations. Common ways for generativity to occur are through career paths and having children. Without normal development in stage 7, individuals may experience self-absorption or a lack of care for future generations, in addition to stagnation and low productivity. Often, these individuals feel a disconnect from the world around them and are largely uninvolved or uncaring about society's continuation and well-being. Social workers can utilize Erikson's stages of change while working with clients. One way to do so is to assess for any psychosocial development stages that may be unresolved. Erickson's stages of development act as a ladder, with each completed task and gained virtue impacting later stages and typical development. For example, if an individual did not complete the task of trust versus mistrust in stage 1, they may have difficulty trusting others and be overly suspicious, making sustainable, important relationships very difficult. As social workers, it may be beneficial to explore these stages to determine if there are unmet tasks that may need focus. Additionally, social workers can use Erickson's stages to better understand client motivations and goals. For example, with normal development through Erickson's stages, an adult in stage 7 will no longer be focusing on identity and would likely rather work on developing a legacy with their social worker. That being said, stages may vary outside of the anticipated age ranges, depending on life events. For example, if a person in stage 6 is terminally ill, they may be less focused on relationship building and more focused on feeling as though their life has been fulfilling and they've accomplished their goals. Social workers and clients may greatly benefit from the understanding that different life stages come with different tasks, and unmet tasks will impact the rest of the individual's stages of life.
The face-to-face, still-face, FFSF experiment is one of the main contributors to our understanding of parent-infant interactive regulatory process and infants' effective communication.
A connected mom and baby are enjoying a mutually satisfying face-to-face social interaction. Mom and baby with good expressivity, reciprocity, and bidirectional activity. Mom goes still face. Baby notices and immediately verbalizes discomfort. Pushes with legs, looks away. She comes back and attempts to engage mom again. When not successful, looks down, comes back. Attempts a few more times to engage mom. And when not responded to, uses her body movements and facial expressions, revealing obvious discomfort and confusion. She then uses her trunk, leg, and neck muscles to get away from the interaction and eventually pulls away from the relational experience. A connected mom and baby are
The argument that humans are meaning makers was initially argued by Bruner, meaning that we can be aware or unaware that we are making meanings. These can include emotions, purposes, intentions, thoughts, perceptions, and actions, as well as biological goals at any time and all the time. We can be making memories with our children without realizing it by doing or saying something. Children will remember from an early age what we did or said by the way it was done with the child. Procreation implies that dynamic relationship exists in every relationship, not just between mother and child. In an observation that Sanders made, he observed that the relationship between child and caregiver was unique. Hind concluded the uniqueness of the relationship, which was compared to couples dancing. They have a unique way of being together. Each couple is unique in their way of dancing from other couples, even if they are dancing the same song. A child has a unique way of making sense of the world and their relationships through their unspoken communication, which is created by moment interactions. There are various ways of being together than just the dancing example. It is in the uniqueness of a game played by just about anyone with the child. It could be like a child making gestures to start a game, or by the mother letting the child know that she is upset with just a look. A second, IRK is a way how people work together, where child and caregiver move from a negative interaction to a positive one. Unique interactive relational knowing, UIRK, are assumed to be the infant's way of expressing their IRK, of their unique way of knowing how to interact with their mother, such a specific way of playing a game. Experiments were conducted using the FFSF paradigm with children between 6 and 11 months, using play and still face. Most infants use typical eliciting behaviors, TEBs, from smiles to fake cries to play again. However, trying to see if the infants use the TEBs or the UIRKs is not easy. In conducting an experiment using the play episode, UIRKs were displayed in both groups. In experimenting with the still face episode, 29.3% of 11-month-old babies displayed the UIRKs and none of the 6-month-old did. The older infants engage in the UIRK even if the mothers don't.
Let's review and bring it all together as we discuss how each theory and concept can impact or influence each other to have a better understanding. As we discuss the 8 stages of psychosocial development, it is important to remember that each stage is triggered by a crisis, but Erikson's usage of crises is not in a negative light, but more of a rewire or create different perspectives on a belief system to better understand the world. Thinking of each stage as a built-in block or unlocking a new level, it is important to understand the impact of other people's roles that can influence each stage. Earlier, we brought up stage 1, which is birth to about 18 months. During this stage, we focus on building trust. Once trust building is accomplished, a baby will start to understand their needs will get met. This creates a foundation to build on as we get into further stages such as the 6th and 7th stage. Stage 6 focuses on love. Here, individuals seek to further their intimate relationships on a platonic or romantic level, resulting in meaningful relationships with lovers, friends, and families, while Stage 7 focuses on neededness by making your mark and improving the lives of future generations through care. This is relatable to the mutual regulation model as it focuses on caregivers and infants in their early stages, creating connection through affectionate exchanges and meaningful moments. This model can be used during Erikson's Stage 1 as it focuses on building trust through loving moments with caregivers and the babies, but can disrupt the development if the caregiver is not meeting the baby's needs. Concept like still face creating negative attachment as the baby will not be able to pick up on positive reactions such as smiles, voices, and laughter. This can result in an insecure attachment, which, not corrected, will affect later stages like Erikson's Stage 6, when the young adult and older are trying to maintain a healthy relationship. This can also affect Erikson's Stage 7 when trying to positively impact future generations. This is where the concept of co-creation can have a positive influence by creating a unique relationship through communicative exchanges that can impact the way two people grow through conversations and other form of exchanges of being together. These moments together create implicit relational knowing, which is how a caregiver and baby know how to relate to one another by being able to understand how and what to do with each other. This concept relates to Erikson's Stage 6 and 7 as it's all about what a relationship is and how both parties can benefit from one another by having lived experiences together to grow and understand each other's perspectives and create memories. If a person is lacking in these developmental stages, it will have a negative result in creating connection with other people and being able to have empathy with one another, lacking love and care. Let's review Erikson's developmental stages and the other concepts covered in this presentation can be used as knowledge and as tools in your utility belt as a social worker. Mainly, the developmental stages can be used as a roadmap to check in on clients and see where they may need supports. Having support such as therapy could be very useful, or just having enough signs and realizing what kind of supports a family may need will be helpful for a social worker to better offer resources and support to their clients. An example would be the youth in the child welfare system and seeing what kind of concerns or issues they have with their parents or even foster parents and what's blocking them from creating a strong connection. Having an understanding of the concepts covered in this presentation will allow caseworkers to see signs or even know when something's off to even ask for an assessment or ask for better support and resources to better serve their family. An example would be a family having issues supporting and relating to each other. A caseworker would be able to have these conversations to understand their upbringing, to see what areas that they could work on. If the youth was not able to build trust as a baby, then they would know where to kind of draw back and understand where these connections are falling off to better support this family. This will help in creating safety and treatment plans as well. A social worker having knowledge of the developmental stages, the mutual regulation model, co-creation, and implicit relational knowing gives them more insight into their clients and can allow a better working relationship and what areas to focus on. This will allow social workers to not have a cookie-cutter approach and understand how each client is unique and how to better support